Hello, fellow old schoolers. So we are approaching the end of the top 8 of this tournament, and I've had a bit of difficulties getting time to set this up in this COVID-19 epidemic. First of all, I hope you guys are keeping safe and keeping indoors in this, and of course all our thoughts go out to our Italian friends and the people in Southern Europe taking the brunt of this at the moment, and also China and across the world. In a time like this, it's a bit difficult to focus on magic, but in another way, in times of difficulties, focusing on normalities can be a good thing. So I thought I'd post these last couple of matches in spite of the current crisis. Actually, the status here is that we are on a complete lockdown in our country, Denmark, and but I'm still off to work as I'm part of the health sector here. But I might be keeping home from now on because I actually think I've contracted it, and so has my wife. So but it should be fine. I mean, we're reasonably young still and pretty healthy. But so we'll just stay behind bars here. Anyway, without further ado, let's go to this second last match of this tournament, and this is between Composition A and another version of the deck. And the version of the deck I'm facing here is even more built against mid-range decks. So he usually has a lot of removal, even more removal than the most common archetype. He has a bunch of the Abyss and Lightning Bolts, Swords to Plowshares, stuff like that. He's on the left here, and I'm on the right. And this is round number 1. Henrik Storm, who's on the left here, he's a very starting off with the Library of Alexandria, very skilled player. He plays a lot of vintage at some of the top tournaments in the world, part of the playgroup of Tron. The Deadguy is from that playgroup as well. Okay, so he starts off with the Library of Alexandria, drawing into a Mox Sapphire, and I'm tutoring here. Cutting a bit forward as I shuffle through the deck. Passing the turn, I can't remember what I brought in. Perhaps a strip mine. Mind Twist will be too difficult to cast here because he has that Sapphire, so he can make a land drop as he does here, and he'll have 2 blue mana, and then he'll block whatever I tutored for. So I think a strip mine would be the best option in this situation. Can't really get an Ancestral Recall out either. Very strong start from him. Okay, disenchanting his Sapphire. He draws a card. Okay, and then we strip mine the Library of Alexandria. Okay, so trying to bomb his board state here. He has he's ahead in cards at this point, but if I screw his mana, he'll be in trouble. Okay, he sacks the Lotus at this point. There's the balance. It's so nasty. So it takes off all my lands, and this mitigates the card advantage he has. We're bombed back to square one, but the reason why he does this is because he can keep a bunch of lands in his hand. So we can just design his hand in this, and if I'm mana starved here, it will set me back so much. Okay, discarding a City of Brass and a Lightning Bolt, and with the final mana from the Black Lotus and that Volcanic Island, he puts down a Chaos Orb. So time will tell if I'm mana screwed. I'm not, though. As a Underground Sea, he can Chaos Orb it now if he wants to. He doesn't choose to. Okay. Okay, keep on producing the mana. Oh, that's good. That's a Black Lotus. So we're actually bouncing back, the both of us. Pretty nice here after that complete board wipe with that balance. Okay, my own Chaos Orb coming out here. Okay, puts down a sushi. Okay, even more land. That's good. Okay, bye-bye sushi. Gets a bunch of life. Okay, electing to Chaos Orb his Chaos Orb here. He can't really use it as a response because he's tapped out. It's a debatable play. I suppose I'm reckoning that he doesn't have a lot of cards in hand. Yeah, I'm following up with a threat. So I just want to remove his removal. Okay, but he just punches right back, cracking an underground seat. It's funny that he doesn't take the City of Brass here, I think. Okay, there's a factory and there's a book. So now he can pull ahead. Just the common, the deck style here. Underworld Dream's coming out. At least we can punish him slightly for using that book. No, okay, he doesn't chance it. This is not good. Second factory coming out. And now he starts to attack. He knows that I'm almost without a hand. Both of us have exhausted our resources here. But he has that book to bounce back quicker than I can. Okay, so Mind Twitch's final card is a Lightning Bolt. Oh, he bolts me as a response. That's bad. There's those two factories he drew into there. So he attacks with one and keeps some mana on tap for that book. Okay, that's a blocking Hypnotic Spectre here. Draws a card. Okay, just keeps on removing my defenses here. And he has 4 points of damage from those factories. Then Time Walking. Animating the factories again, I think. Yeah, and they come over for another swing. Ouch. 7 life left here. Another factory, sink a vampire coming out. Okay, so now I can block and that vampire will grow in strength if he sucks the life out of one of those factory workers. So, yeah. At least says that. Okay, no. Okay, he fireballs me out. Boom. He can just make it work here. Everything just clicked at the end and he can just, yeah, end the game with that fireball. So we'll be off to the sideboard options here. I have a few comments on the sideboards, as I have the composition A has evolved since this particular match, I think, but we'll get back to that after the next round of this set. So far the deck is up 1-0 at this point in this top 8 match of the Long Island Cup 1.5. This is round number 2. And I'm on the play here, obviously. There's a Lightning Bolt, Brain Geyser, Mox Jet, and a bunch of lands in hand. Okay, still a very, very slow start from the composition A. Okay, there's a Lotus though. Energy Flux turn 1. I obviously sideboarded that in. I want to get that out as fast as possible before he can counter it. And this will hold his Moxen and Silverstones back. Coming to think of it, I haven't really seen him play any Silverstones at this point. Okay, continuing to pressure his mana sources here. I want to dominate the game early on, but he won't allow it. Just counters the Sinkhole straight up. Now here is a Mox Jet and then a Brain Geyser for 2. So he sacrifices the Mox Jet for this. So he actually gains no cards out of this exchange, as a Brain Geyser is a card as well. But I suppose he can get a better hand. There's a Jusum Jin though. There goes the Mox Jet to the Energy Flux. Okay, he makes the Jusum Jin go farm. So I suppose we gotta draw these removal early on. Just keep on putting creatures into the grinder. He has another Source to Plowshare in hand though, and a Sushi. And Chaos Orb coming out, okay. Now I like to use it on his lands. Yeah, I want him to get damage from those City of Brass as much as possible. And as he doesn't have access to Moxen and Silverstones, cracking his early mana could be a viable option here. Yeah, Yeah, he plays the Sushi, plays his Max Sapphire just before that, just in order to not take too much damage from those City of Brass. It will likely cost him that Max Sapphire though. So those Energy Fluxes, man, they've done a ton of work already. Okay, bye-bye Sushi. And there goes the Max Sapphire. He draws into another Swords to Plowshare. He'll have a lot of answers to that. At least it gives me life, but life isn't that much of a priority in this matchup. He won't be likely to burn me out. But look at that hand. He has so many answers against a deck like mine. This is probably the worst matchup for the Composition A in this entire tournament, I think. Hand of Lightning Bolts, Counterspells, Swords to Plowshares. And he might not win a mirror match against the deck because he doesn't have... I think he only plays with 3 books versus the usual 4 books. But he's very, very secure against aggro deck and mid-range. Okay, we're clapping for something here. I think someone won something. Perhaps it was... I don't know. Okay, anyway, back to the game. There's a Wheel of Fortune trying to set the game off and come into Library of Alexandria range here, but he counters it. There's the book. Now, there's a bit of a dilemma here. He can't really pay for the book for the Energy Flux and still use it, so at the moment it's useless. But if he gets another land and gets an untap phase, he can counter my Disenchant, so I elected to go for it here. Might be a mistake, as I've used my Disenchant now, and he comes over with that factory, but I'm really afraid of those books, actually. The Demonic Tutor. Yeah. He'll likely pull ahead here with perhaps an Ancestral Recall. Yep, there we go. Another 3 cards. So drew a couple of lands and a black card. I don't know what that was. Probably a Mind Twist, perhaps. Another factory there. That was a Mox. Draw 2 lands and a Mox from that Ancestral Recall. That was a bad Ancestral Recall. But look at this. He has 2 factories up. It's getting dangerous here. As a second attempt at that book. Okay, second the Sapphire to my own Energy Flux here and putting down another Energy Flux, really putting the pressure on that Yimblade Tomb. He needs to pay 4 mana in its upkeep and he can't really use it. So I can destroy his artifacts here, but those factories are getting increasingly dangerous. Yeah, now I can get in with them. That's a defending factory. The pattern in these games seems to be that we just destroy each other's cards and he'll have a factory to ping me with. Okay, so he attacks with both factories. I elect to block and then he strip mines my defending factory, doing 4 points of damage here. Need to work fast to get out of this pinch. Singa Vampire coming out, getting immediately Swords to Plowshare. Factory's coming over again, robbing me of the 4 life I gained from that Vampire. Sushi coming out. I don't mind paying for it if he can keep those bastards off my back, but he disenchanted. You just have all the answers here. Doesn't even need to play anything and just keep on. Okay, he chooses to go for the kill here, I suppose. And take the points of damage from those City of Brass just to do a lot of damage with those factories. So yeah, 13 life left. So now it's a Hail Mary. He needs to pay all his available mana for his sushi. And then take 3 points of damage from those Cities of Brass. Going really low on life himself, but doing 9 points of damage here. Underworld Dreams. Yeah, Mox, it won't be enough. He'll untap and then he'll kill me. That's game. I was kicked out of the top 8 here. And this version of the deck continues on. And the video after this one will be the finals of the Long Island Cup, and it will feature this version of the deck against Ernum Burnham that won against the previous version of the deck in this final match of the Long Island Cup. I think these are the sideboard options. Or is it? Yeah, he took in an Ivory Tower against me, probably thinking I was a kind of a burn setup. And what else? A bunch of Red Blasts, it seems, and that was a good pick. He probably predicted that I would go in with the Entity Fluxen. I've actually... And yeah, that's a bunch of City in a Bottle. Anyway, the newest iteration of the Composition A is foregoing those Entity Fluxes entirely, actually, against the deck. And it seems to be a much better matchup for me from now on out. At least initial testing seems to indicate. The reason for this is the Entity Fluxen sets me back as well now. It was a leftover from when I played this deck as a mono black with a blue splash, and there wasn't a lot of Moxen in the deck back then. But now there's Sushis and it's fully powered, and yeah, it delays us both. And the deck, he doesn't mind if the entire game is delayed like this, but I don't have time for it in that particular matchup. So instead of that, I'm using Divine Offering, Shatters, stuff like that, extra stuff into pressure his mana, and more lane destruction, and it seems to work like a charm, actually. But I've yet to test this newest iteration of the Composition A in any tournaments, as this COVID-19 epidemic has, it's just shut down all the tournaments in the country. I should have attended one this weekend, and there's another one in 14 days from now, and that's been postponed, or for now it's been annulled, actually. So yeah, it's a shame, but I mean it's not the worst thing of this epidemic. So I hope you enjoyed this game. The Composition A has been kicked out, but so far it's been going into the top 8 for every single tournament it's attended, so I can't really complain. I've been plenty lucky there. Next up is the final match of this particular tournament. So take care out there, fellow old schoolers, and I will see you in the next one.